Hello, and thanks for joining us for Adventures in Songwriting. Today my guest is someone I've been a fan of for a very long time, with amazing songs and rock and punk and intelligence. Rob Elba from the Holy Terrors.
Thanks for having me.
What started the whole journey for you? What was the catalyst?
And my sister, I have a sister that's like 4 years older than me, so she was really into music. She would listen. I remember when Carole King's Tapestry came out,
yeah.
And she would just listen to it nonstop in her room, and it was just coming, you just call out my name, and must have been depressed about something,
right.
And she would just play it over and over again. So, and it is a great album, but I can't even hear it now because it triggers me back to that
right.
time, But so she would buy records, and then eventually I would get into some of her stuff she would listen to. She would like Led Zeppelin. I mean, her and her friends, they were a little like hippie-ish, so Grateful Dead and stuff.
And how old were you around this time?
I guess I was like, I was just a preteen or teen, 12, 13. But I bought, like, my first record was Elton John. I think I bought an Elton John record. I think it was Greatest Hits, like one of his first Greatest Hits one. I grew up in New York, but my family moved down here when I was like 11, so it was down here. It could have been Recordland.
Oh yeah, Recordland.
Yeah, Recordland in the
where the Blue Note became, right? Is that?
Well, no, this Recordland was in the one I went to was in the Hollywood Fashion Center.
Oh yes,
it's called.
Yes,
There was a mall, the Hollywood Fashion Center, and it was like the hangout. Like when I was young, that was like the hangout mall that kids would go, like who couldn't drive yet. Their parents would drop them off, and you'd spend the whole day at the mall. You'd go to Orange Julius, and you'd go to the record store. So I bought a lot of records from Recordland, that store. Yeah, and I actually I bought my first Ramones record there. I was at a friend's house. I had a friend he had an older brother who was really into music, but his older brother had like the stereo, like the fancy stereo and everything. But this kid was into like a Jim Croce and stuff like that. So his brother gave him a record, and it was the Ramones' first record, and I didn't know nothing about it. He said, "Do you want this?" And he said, "It's terrible." He said they have a song about beating on a kid with a baseball bat and things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, that sounds kind of cool.
Beats on the bread, beats on the bread, beats on the bread with a baseball bat. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh.
So I took the record, and I just loved it. It was like nothing, obviously, like nothing I'd ever heard before. And so I immediately went to Recordland to see if they had anything else, and their second album had just come out, the Ramones Leave Home. So I bought that, and I'll never forget, I got it, and I was sitting home playing it, and my sister had some dude over, and the dude, was like coming over, "Hey, what are you listening to there?" And he's listening, and it's like, I'm listening, and he's listening, and then it's like on the third song, and he's going, "Wait, is this the same song still?" And I'm like, no, it's like the third song. He's like, "Oh," and he's going, "There's no leads, huh?" No leads, and it's like, no. So this dude was not into them at all. The Ramones.
What made you pick up a guitar or hit bang on the piano? Was there a moment in time?
Not bang on a piano. I still can't bang on a piano. That's all I could do is bang on a piano. I remember at some point, it was probably in middle school. We had like some kind of recess thing where like a band played, and it was like a band like made up of kids in the school, whatever they played, and I thought, oh, that's cool. So then at some point some kid said, "Oh, I'm starting a band," and I go, "Oh, well, I want to be in a band." And they go, "Well, what do you play?" And I said, "Well, I'm a singer," because I knew I couldn't play anything, but I just automatically said I'm a singer because I figured, well, I could say that. Right. I could say I'm a singer. So that's how I became the singer to a band. And at this point, I think we were all really into Kiss, so we did a lot of Kiss songs for some reason. I think they were easy to learn, and everyone appreciated them, whatever. So
do you remember what songs you would play, like Christine 16?
Yeah, exactly. Christine 16, A Dr. Love, I mean, they're not very challenging vocally to sing, so we did that. But, and then pretty soon I started to say, well, I have to learn how to play guitar, so I would have people show me chords. I took lessons. My parents. I mean, actually, it's funny. The first song I ever wrote, I wrote, and I remember it, and it's horrible. But it's like,
Do you have a recording of it somewhere?
no, not a recording of it, and never. But the thing is, you got to understand with me, not the first song. I feel like the first maybe 100 songs I wrote are terrible, and I'm
right.
not. It's like I honestly can say I feel like my first good song I wrote, I was probably like 26 years old, 26, 27 years old. That's when I wrote a song that I'm still proud of now.
Right.
Like anything I wrote before, it's not something I'm really proud of.
Right.
You know, and
do you remember that first song that you wrote? Like
the first song I wrote, it was.
Can you play a little bit of it?
No, I can't play it because this is before I knew how to play an instrument.
Okay.
So I just wrote it in my head, and I
Okay.
would sing it in my head, and it was called. I remember because it's great that it had. It had one of the biggest songwriting cliches in it, which it bugs me to this day because people still use it, and it was about looking in a mirror and seeing your reflection. And I remember it was like, come look into the mirror, your reflection you will see. You're nobody to you, and I'm nobody to me, or something. You're nobody, get that in your head. I said that you're nobody, you might as well be dead. You're nobody. And and then it was funny because I remember my parents were always very supportive of me. So I think at some point I have a song I sang to them, and they're like, wow, that's amazing. He's a songwriter. We have to get him guitar lessons, you know?
That's great.
So they did take me to but it was terrible. It was like this old guy, and he would teach you, you know, I don't know.
So you're lucky you still like guitar after the lesson.
Oh yeah, it didn't last long. You know, they teach you, you're going to play a song, you're going to play, but then they don't teach you the chord. They teach you playing
Right.
like the single notes of the song. It's like,
who wants to do that?
Sound
Right.
like anything.
Exactly.
You know? So I quickly gave up on that. So I never actually learned how to read music, and I basically learned from watching other people play and just sort of figuring things out.
So do you remember the first guitar that you felt like attached to?
Um,
Or is this actually it?
I would never. You know what? I was never really a music gear guy, and I know so many guitar players that they really like guitars and they collect. I was never that kind of guy. So I had my first guitar was obviously an acoustic that I had to get to take lessons from this guy, and then pretty soon after I bought from some kid some electric guitar. I forget. I wish I still had it because it was cool. It had like switches on it, you know, like you'd move like switches. It was just like it had a lot of electronic stuff on it. It was like a cheap guitar. I don't know what it was, but that was my first guitar. But I thought that was cool because it was. You could actually plug it in, you know, it was an electric guitar, so that was really cool. My guitar that I got that I really liked was I was a big Cheap Trick fan. I love Cheap Trick ever since. It was weird for me. The first time I heard Cheap Trick was actually Live at Buddha. It was something from Live at Budokan, and I remember hearing it. And I remember I was already getting into some punk bands, and I thought to me they sounded like punk, like they were a punk band.
Right.
And then I saw pictures of Robin Zander with the blonde hair and the way, and I said, "Wow, that's weird. He doesn't look." And then you see the guitar player. Nielsen, Rick
right.
Nielsen, and he looks like, you know, like a maniac, like he could be. So that was cool. But Robin Zander played this Telecaster, like a blonde Telecaster. So me and my friend who I was in a band at the time, Yves Bouadan, who I was in a band called the Ex-Cons, our high school rock band, the Ex-Cons. We went to this kid's house because he had guitars to sell.
Was it an original band or just?
Ex-Cons we did both. We did covers and originals, but we did end up, we did originals, and we actually put out a record in like 1980 or something. We put out
cool. I'd like to
record.
hear some of that if you have any of it.
Oh, it's amazing.
But carry on. The blonde.
It's really bad.
The
It's
blonde
really
guitar,
bad.
Robin Zander.
Yeah. So anyway, this kid he had a Telecaster. One of the things he had was like the blonde Telecaster. He had one, and I said, "Oh man!" And it was like $200. So I bought that from him. And it's so funny because that's my guitar. Like now, still that's a guitar I play.
guitar.
And once in a while, like someone will find you on Facebook. They went to high school with, and they see it, and they go, "Rob, is that the guitar you had in high school?" And it's like, "Yeah, dude, I rock that shit." Yeah. We actually released a EP, and it was called "Do Dead People Tan," and that was and it's actually it's funny because it's actually kind of like a collect, like anything that was then like American vinyl then is kind of like a collector's thing.
Right.
So it is actually sought after. Like years ago, a long time ago, like over 10 years ago or something. I got a call from someone with like this thick German accent, asking me, "Are you Robert?" No, it was Robert because on the record it says Robert Elba from the Ex-Cons, and I was sure it was one of my friends just putting, goofing on me. So I'm like, yeah, who is this? And he's like, I was one, and it ended up it was a legitimate German dude that wanted to buy records, and actually, I found out that he sent me that this German label called Power Pearls. They would take like American punk bands and just put on compilations and not get permission or anything. So he sent. So I have actually an edition of this Power Pearls German thing, which Do Dead People Tan is on there, and it's made very cheaply. The record, it's like they took like not even a good picture. It was like they put it on a copier made of the cover, and that was the picture on there and everything. But
Keep it punk.
yeah, punk. We were barely punk. We were like pop punk. I guess you'd call it pop punk or whatever. But that was when I wrote the songs I wrote then. It's so funny. That's one of the ones that I don't feel. It's not that I'm not proud of it, but it's not something I would play now because I was still trying. I was just trying to write. I was trying to be clever and trying to be a little, edgy, and that, but it wasn't really coming from, I don't know what the hell it was coming from.
Right. Kind of got in your own way a little bit.
And it wasn't artistic. It wasn't very artistic. Not that I think rock and roll needs to be artistic, but in a way, I do. I kind of do. All the really good stuff
has something more to it.
Yeah, actually, exactly.
Speaking of something more to it, I mean, the Holy Terror is one of the best bands to come out of this town.
Thank you. That's
I'm a big
coming
fan.
from a band that was in really one of the greatest South Florida original bands.
Well, thank you.
The Goods. That's
I appreciate that. But big fan of you guys. So how did you guys get started? And you started not in Miami. You started in Boston, right?
Me and the guitar player, my friend Dan Hosker, actually met down here in 1984. He was from there. He's originally from Danvers, Mass. And he was down. He moved in with his dad. His parents were divorced, and his dad Ken lived down here. So he was living with him, and we met. He had an ad, and it was a really funny ad in one of the Rag. It could have been in Rag magazine, and it was. He mentioned looking for original. Someone to make original music, and he mentioned like all these instruments, and he had horns in there too. But the bands he mentioned didn't fit with horns. So I'm like, oh, this guy's a nut, obviously. So I answered that, and we met at this record at a record store, and it's funny because we were both sort of dressed the exact same way. We both had like tan army shirts with the sleeves cut off and jeans, and we looked like we were already in a band together,
right.
Which was really fun. So and then we started playing together, and then he moved back up to Boston, and I moved. I said, well, okay, I'll move to Boston. So we both moved to Boston, and we had a band called Inside Outburst, and we played up in Boston between 85 and 90. We played Inside Outburst, and it was a original band there, and it was okay. And still, like I said, I still didn't. I was a songwriter, obviously, and we had songs and we did stuff, and we were good, we were okay, but I still didn't feel like I cracked the songwriting code then. I started writing new songs. Like we decided I wasn't going to do the songs I was playing with him in Inside Outburst. We were going to form a new band and do new stuff. So the first song I wrote for the new band was a song called Stranger, and that's a song that I'll still play to this day.
Right.
And I felt like when I just wrote that in a way, and I felt like, oh, okay, it sort of clicked with me of just how to write like in my own voice and just how to do it, and I felt like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then I feel like I just started writing songs that I'm still proud of now. Like most everything I wrote after that, I could still listen to and go, oh, that's a good song. Or sometimes I say, oh wow, I don't even know how I wrote that. I
right.
think it's good. So that.
But you feel like you cracked the code because I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you do it. I mean, not you, but I mean, I don't know how a songwriter really writes that. What is considered that song that you like that everybody likes.
Right.
I mean,
right.
how do you write that song?
Do you
believe that it comes from some place beyond, or do you feel like you have to it's a craft thing where you just have to figure it out? You have to.
I think it's a craft thing. I think definitely if you have in your head, if you're trying to write that song, then you're probably not gonna because it's try too hard. Or you say, well, this is what I want to say, and you do it, and then I sort of what I realized, and there's some things now that I do when I write songs, and that if anyone asks me, that I advise them because it works for me, is that a lot of times people want to write and they want to make things big and universal, like they want to write about the world's a mess now, so I'm going to write a song about the world being a mess.
Yeah.
But those songs usually suck.
Right.
But if you write about some maniac outside your window screaming about the world being a man, if you just write about this guy
Like focus
and his
in.
and if you focus on specific things and don't try and tell people what you think and everything, just describe something or tell a little story and convey whatever it's going to convey through that it ends up being so much more powerful and so much more connecting instead of trying to say something bigger or grander. One of the things I really love about writing songs is that you could write about anything. Mm-hmm. And that's why it drives me crazy that so many songwriters write about relationships all the time. You write about relationships. It's like, okay, I get it, but there's so many songs about relationships.
Right.
You don't have to write a song about a relationship song. You can write about anything. People have specifically, Charlie Pickett has said to me, Rob, why would you write a song like about that? He would specifically say that. I said, because I can, Charlie.
Well, yeah, just tell the people what that song's about.
Singer-Songwriter was a song that the Holy Terrors did, and we did a single. We made a single of it, and it got played on VUM a lot. It's a good song because it's a really catchy song, but it's cool. It like hits all the notes, I think, But it's about what Singer-Songwriter is about is sort of a specific thing. I was reading about Betty Page. Betty Page was. I've always just really liked Betty Page. The pictures of her, she was a pinup girl from the 50s, and she just her look. I always just really liked her look, and I was reading about her story, and there was a photographer. There was a group of photographers at the time that would take these girls to the beach and stuff, and they would just take pictures. They called them hobbyists, and they were like they had a photography club. It was really just a dirty old men that wanted to take pictures of of girls. And this one character was named Little John, and he was in that little club. And Little John also had he had these he would like to be tied up, and he would hire girls to tie him up in chairs and things. So what actually happened, this was a true story, that he was in a hotel room. He had a prostitute, and she tied him up in a chair. He had her tie him up in a chair, and they had both been drinking, and they drank so much that she passed out, and he had a lit cigarette in his mouth. And he's sitting there in a chair, tied up. He couldn't move. The cigarette fell in his lap. He caught on fire, and the entire room burnt to death. It was a very scandalous thing, obviously at the time. But I remember reading that story and thinking, already in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to write a song about that.
Right.
But the thing, what I was thinking about was sort of cigarette. Maybe he didn't call it a cigarette. Maybe he smoked a Singer-Telo, because it was like a fancier cigarette.
Right.
So that's why I called the song Singer-Telo, and I was thinking that the whole time when he was burning, maybe some point of him was thinking, this is awesome, because he liked to be tied up and he liked that. So it's like, what an awesome thing. This poor prostitute's passed out. I'm burning to death. Maybe some part of him was saying it was awesome. And then later on, Sam, our drummer, started smoking. So he found the cigarettes actually called Singer-Telos, and he smokes them. I think he may smoke them to this day. It goes, Little John's date gave good hate, left him tied up in a chair. Now she's passed out on the floor. John sits pondering her hair. That's it. Now, how could you not finish like that? I got those 4 lines, and then how could you not finish that song? Because you want to know what happened.
Right.
To
It's
the
like a
story of
story.
Little John. Yeah. So that's.
So focusing on the crazy guy outside the window instead of how am I going to change the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. That's a good way to do it. Speaking of the crazy guy outside the window that you want to write about,
Yes.
you did a rock opera about one of the most interesting people.
Yes, a rat bastard.
In the scene. Not only he a pioneer of being voted one of the worst bands, and he's got international name for himself.
Yep.
With that.
He's a noise god.
And he's a noise god, and he's wonderful musical godfather in a way. I mean, he just helps everybody out.
Yeah.
He always helps people.
To be clear, he's also a tremendous asshole.
Yeah.
He can be, but we all love him.
Yeah,
and we've known him. I know, like you, we've known him forever. He's been around forever, and he's always been involved in the scene, and he still is to this day. He's involved in so many things, but he fashions himself a noise pioneer, a noise artist.
He wasn't always that.
No, he wasn't. Right,
but I'll save that for maybe one day. I'll get him on here. Maybe he'll do a hippie song.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be awesome.
That'd be great. So you wrote a musical.
Me and
with your buddy Brian.
Brian Franklin. Me and my friend Brian Franklin. Like years ago, we were talking about Rat. I think we were heading to Rat. Like Rat was doing something with Brian. He was recording something, and we were saying, just everyone always has these stories about Rat because Rat has so many. There's so many stories about him. Like people. So he'll be recording people, and because he worked for the airlines for like 30 years, over 30 years. And he would work for the airlines, and then when he got off work, he would go be at a club till like 6 in the morning, and everyone would wonder when would he sleep. And the answer was he would sleep when he was recording people in his studio, because a lot of times you'd be recording him, and you'd look over and he'd be sleeping at the board. So there was just so many stories about
He did that with us once.
Yeah,
twice.
Of course. He did that with so many people. Yeah. So, and we said, we should write an opera. Just kidding, we should write an opera. And then... like a couple weeks later, Brian started sending me these lyrics. He goes, "Okay, here's the song. I got some songs already." He wrote it, and because he's really good at writing lyrics. So we said, "Okay, so this was like the first time I ever really co-wrote something with someone, and it was good because a lot of it was more him doing the words and me doing the music, and then we had I wrote some songs on my own, and he wrote some songs on his own, and
so even with the ex-cons, you never collaborated.
Not collaborated. I would go, sometimes not so much with the ex-cons, although sometimes if someone would come up with a riff and I say, "Oh, that's good, I'll use that in a song."
I mean, the reason I bring up that band, because early on, when you're in a room, you're just learning, it's kind of just naturally happens where you just jam in a song.
I know, but I'm such a control freak. I just couldn't. I was never good at doing that because I would be like, "Oh, okay, that could be a song," and then someone would say, "What about this?" I'm like, "No, that's not good." So I would end up, I would want to write. I would take something and then take it to myself, go home and then figure it out right, and then teach it to everyone. That was just the way I worked. That was just the way I worked.
So with Brian, you were able to collaborate.
I was able to collaborate. Yeah, and then just it like helped me a lot because I had actually gone through a period where I hadn't written anything. It was almost like I almost felt like I'm probably not going to write songs anymore. Mm-hmm. And then this really got my juices going to write songs again, and we just came up with a lot. And so the Rat Opera is a musical. It's got like 16 songs all about Rat.
Yeah.
And it was just good. It was good, and it really got my songwriting juices going again.
What's your favorite song from the Rat Opera?
Oh.
What's your favorite song from the Rat Opera? Because he can edit this stuff, so if you think you need to say something again, just repeat it.
Right.
So Rob, what's your favorite song from the Rat Opera?
You know what? I have so many songs that I love there, and I could probably at different times name a bunch of different ones, but I will say Ballad of the Rat is one that Brian wrote the words to, and he wrote it real quick. I said, because we were talking, we'd already well into writing the opera, and I said, there's got to be we got to write a song that's sort of like towards the end of the show where Rat's sort of taking his stand and explaining to him how he is, and we'll call it Ballad of the Rat. And then Brian just like writes this whole thing out, this lyrics, and he sends it to me. And it's like, I took him and I said, okay, that sounds to me like it could be like an Irish drinking song. And I don't think I changed anything of what he wrote. I just took what he wrote and formed it into a song, and we did it. And so I really, I really like that song. I like how it came out. And I got there's a funny story with that song, because when we did, a lot of times we do versions of the Rat Opera with different guest singers we've done, which you have participated in.
Yes,
We have different people sing the different Rat Opera songs, and it's a lot of fun. And for this song, which is a very, it sounds like an Irish drinking song. So we got Hank Milne.
Oh, perfect.
Hank Milne to sing it at one of the shows, and he's like this great Irish singer dude, and he's really good. And we sent him the song. Oh yeah, love it, I'll do it. And he came and he killed it. He did so good. But he said something really funny to me. He said, Rob, I love the song. He said, but you do something. You put some chords in there that shouldn't be there. He said, I know they shouldn't be there, and they don't. And I listen to them, and it's just like, nah, that chord shouldn't be there. And it's like, and I knew exactly what he was talking about, because it's like sort of like the musical break of the song, because it goes, the song's like, it's like, every single one of you is crazy. You're all just missing it, man. You got a guitar, but you're lazy. You know damn well you're in the wrong band. You know damn well you're in the wrong band. And then it goes. And then that's that. And then it goes. and it's like, and you knew that's what he was talking about, and but it's just that, but it was funny because in my mind I was expecting him to say, you threw that in there, and but it just works and it's good. But no, he didn't say that because to him it didn't work. I know he thinks it would be better if he took that stupid chord out and just played it because that's how he hears it. I know enough now about music that this part, shiny girls can't hide. This really should be a minor right here. They can only slide. It should be a minor, but I like the major makes it sound a little funky, like it goes, shiny girls can't hide.
Right.
They can only slide, and it's hard to discern, but it just makes it a little off, and I like that. So I usually go for my gut, like, oh, that works better, even though it probably should. A minor may sound prettier,
right,
but that one actually works more for me.
For you.
Know? Yeah.
I think you can overthink it, and you can worry about majors and minors, but that whole concept that's kind of ineffable that you're reaching towards, which is awesome, which is not wanting to know the mystery of what the making is.
Right.
Because then you're kind of too close to it, and then I would be paranoid I'll lose it. Once I crack the code, then...
Well, you can overthink anything. I definitely believe that. I definitely believe we're usually our own worst enemies, and we get in our heads and we can overthink everything. So it's always a fight against that.
But I always loved the sound, and that whole sound you did in Shark Valley Sisters, you've done forever. That oh well, it would normally sound right with a minor, but then I'm going to do major instead.
Right, yeah.
Which is very, very cool about your sound. Like when I wrote a song a long time ago called Minnesota Girl, and there was a part in it that I totally wrote trying to write a Holy Terrace song with. That's it.
Oh, okay, nice.
That was my Holy Terrace little homage right there.
No, that's awesome, and
la 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 la.
I do that all the time. Like I'll hear something, and I say, "Oh, I want to write a song like that," and I do that. And to me, that's okay. That's fine because by the time you're done, you were done with it. It's not like a Holy Terrace song. You had that in your head and you did it. It's like your own song.
Yeah, it's gonna sound like.
Yeah, and I do that all the time. And I do that. I'm sure. I think there was a good song. There was probably a good song I heard, and just a song. I'll say, "Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna do something like that," and then I'll try and do it. And by the time you're done with it, it's different anyway. So I do that shit all the time. I still do that, and it's cool. I think to me, it's just like being inspired by something, and then just trying to get that little spark and do something else. But it's not like I guess in a way it is. It's not like, what is it? There's a saying. Some people. A true artist steal, like some people borrow, but true artists steal. There's something like that, yeah. So that's totally cool with me. I get that.
Awesome. So what we like to do here, Rob, sometimes here on this show, is we like to try and talk about songwriting, but we also like to try and write a song.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So that's why this has magically appeared. This paper.
I got one.
And if you notice, we have this.
Yes.
What is this, you might ask? This is the Sands of Time, giving us 30 minutes to write.
Oh, wow.
It's actually about 35 minutes because it's not exactly right.
Okay.
A
deadline, though. I like that.
But it's a deadline, so we got to finish this.
I work better under pressure with deadlines.
Well, this is pressure.
Good.
This is pressure. The Sands of Time are working, so we're just going to start. So, looks like we did it, right?
You say we did it. I say we did write a song.
We wrote a song, which is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's not a good song.
It doesn't have to be a good song, but we wrote a song. So this is for your listening pleasure for the very first time.
It's kind of like a Kiss song. We decided it's going to be like a Kiss song.
Kiss song, yeah.
Yeah, because we were both big fans of Kiss when we were younger.
Exactly, and this is called I'm So Old. You ready?
Yep.
Put me under pressure, lock me in a cage. Tell me you don't need me, that would put me in a rage. I tightened up my hair plugs, squeezed into my jeans. You say I'm an anachronism, I don't know what that means. Down, 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 my blood runs Time is just a number, fashion's just a face. I can see it all behind me. Left my hassle in a blaze. Down, 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 my blood runs cold, 'cause I'm so old. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a child sitting all alone, waiting for the prince to take me home. 1,000 beats per minute, thumping in my head. What's the point of trying when rock and roll is dead? Down, 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 my blood runs cold. Down, 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 I lost my soul. Down, 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 I dug this hole, 'cause I'm so old. Yeah, I'm so old. Yeah, I'm so old.
Thanks so much for being on the show. This has been a blast. It's been fun to have you here and talk about songwriting
Awesome. Thanks
and
for
write a
having me.
song like
Yeah,
this.
well, sort of.
It was good. Good fun.
All right.
Thank you so much, and until we meet again, thanks for watching.
Adventures in songwriting.